happened in the 90s.
Oh man. Hey, I can imitate almost anything, but no one can imitate the pump. The original, the pump. From Reebok.
And I did this, I don't know, I guess it happened in the 90s because Jordan Peele was born in the 90s or lived in the 90s, but I saw Nope last night, dude. That shit was fucking good.
Seems like you were searching for another adjective, so you just resorted to good.
No, it was, I mean, I don't want to like upsell it too much because I could see walking away from that and being like not really enthusiastic about the ending, but I went to film school and I like some of the shit that they pulled off in this fucking movie, just visual wise. I have no idea what the fuck that they possibly did to do it. It was crazy.
That's the second review. The first review I saw on Facebook, guy said that's probably his least favorite of the Jordan movies, man. But
I like Us less than this one. This I like UFO movies, and it definitely is a UFO movie, but it's just a different. It's a different take, dude. It's crazy, and it's that I've heard people compare it to like Jaws, very much so like that. It's really dumb. It's really good. The ending was a little. I like movie endings that are open to interpretation. But there was just a little bit more I would have liked out of it. Just a little. It wasn't, but it was in no way a bad movie. And it was really well done. And like I said, dude, this is, well, it's not racist. It's just the actual mechanics of filming. Filming a dark-skinned black dude is hard enough, but filming somebody at night is hard enough too. And they did both of these in a way. I honestly, dude, I'm sure there's new technology, but from what I was taught, I have no fucking idea how they pulled this shit off. It's crazy.
And I mean, he's figured it out in just about every movie because Daniel Kaluuya is in all of them. And I mean, I thought I was dark skinned, man, but standing next to Daniel Kaluuya, I'd probably look like Drake.
I mean, dude, and it's like a lot at night, but it was cool. It was fucking freaky as fuck because I mean, a lot of the movie is like looking up and seeing like weird shit in the sky and clouds and storms and shit. And we went into this movie because it's hot out, dude. It's fucking was like 95. We were just fucking baking. So we decided to go see this fucking movie. We go in, it's like 95 degrees sunny. We watch this crazy movie with shit in the clouds and storms and blood rain and shit. And then we come out and I'm like, this fucking movie, how long was this shit? It's dark as fuck out. We come out in like the middle of a fucking monsoon, in the middle of a fucking like deluge. I was like, okay, this is fucking weird as shit. I'm high. I'm all paranoid as fuck. I had to run in the rain and like, you ever like run to your car and because it's raining, but then it starts raining like massively harder. So you just get fucking soaked in 5 seconds. It was one of those.
And there's nothing like, no matter how fast you run, like, no. Here's all the water.
Yeah. Fuck you. Fuck your clothes. So, I definitely, you got to see it. I would see it in a theater, but see that fucking movie, Steve. It's worth it.
It's my duty to watch all of his movies. And I don't know if you saw the meme. Somebody had praised him as being the greatest horror film director ever. And Jordan said, I will not take any John Carpenter slander on my timeline or something. It's like, and that's modest.
That's a lot to say. I mean, the dude is killing it. As far as like making movies, he has not failed yet. I've liked all the movies he put out. And it's cool to see him do this because if you would have told me when I was watching Key and Peele that guy was going to be in any way, fuck a horror movie director, just like a really well-respected director, I would be like, that's crazy. And it's even crazier because I saw some shit because, you know, you watch a movie like this and you want to have like somebody on the internet explain it to you. So I was just like watching shit on YouTube. But this movie was made by Universal Studios, and so they're giving him big bank to do shit. And they have like a backlot tour in LA where you just get to like, go through the studio, and it's like old sets and shit, like the set from Psycho, the set from whatever, and a set from this movie is a permanent set on that backlot tour now. So that's a crazy accolade or like accomplishment for anybody.
That's historic, man.
I mean, that Spielberg shit is on the lot. I worked at that place. I saw the shit back there, and it's like now he has a permanent space in that, at least for the foreseeable future. So that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, man. To say he's the greatest, I don't know.
That's crazy.
Wes Craven. Yeah, Wes Craven is still like my goat, I think. John Carpenter. I mean, I wasn't big on Halloween. I was more of a Freddy guy.
I'd have to like see what he made, because I think John Carpenter made like The Fog and shit too. And
Escape from LA and New York too.
There you go, like those things. So he had like a different thing, but both those guys, I mean, putting just the fact that people are saying that, and I wouldn't even dispute that Jordan Peele is one of the best, definitely now, horror directors, but I mean, it's a compliment to him. I don't know if he's there yet, but he's
put in more work,
doing his best,
Yeah, man. It's kind of like when Kendrick put his first album out and everybody's putting him in like the greatest. Like, dude, that's disrespectful to like the Cubes, the Busta Rhymes, the LLs. Like, dude, the album was good, but like, let's keep our dick in our pants.
Yeah, people want to just jump to that, like, give people titles and stuff, but the dude's killing it. He's definitely, I'd love to see him do some other shit other than horror and see what he can do with that too. And I think he probably will. I wouldn't be surprised if he's making a Marvel movie at some point or some shit like that. But yeah, man, it was dope, man. It's not, did it happen in the 90s? No, but there was some of the flavor of what he is came from the 90s, Steve. So,
got Keke Palmer.
Oh my god, she is looking so fucking fire in that fucking shit too. She kills it in that movie. Everybody does. There's some guy that I have never even heard of. He's like there's some Latin dude, I think. He fucking kills it too. He's really good at making you confused, like not understand what's happening. Every time I go see a movie of his, I'm like, multiple times in the movie, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Keeping you off your toes a little bit.
Now, a guy that was famous in the 90s, Vince McMahon. What's your take on this? The big guy, he stepped down over the week, and 77. And when I first heard about all of this stuff going on, I was like, Vince won't lose. He never loses, unless you're Jesse the Body Ventura, or that other WWF. But for the most part, he doesn't lose. No chance. You got no chance in hell against him. It sucks.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I don't know like the full shit of what's going on, like the allegation, but I'm just sad to see that he's not going to be there anymore. He's not affiliated at all.
He'll probably have some voice because he's still like majority stakeholder. And Stephanie's stepping in for his role. So he won't be too far off. It represents the end of an era, man. And
for sure.
I shit you not, like the day that man dies, I just might call off work because it's that serious to me. Like I was just talking to my roommate, man, like Vince McMahon and Jim Henson, like those are two people who kind of like molded my childhood and by extension, like molded my life because I still like look to these characters and like I talk about them. I have a whole podcast where I talk about these people from time to time, and those are like the brainchilds of two men. And like Vince, man, I've even said to myself, it's about time for you to go. I think you lost your touch. The time has come, and honestly, I wasn't prepared.
I think it just sucks. It's like it was gonna happen. It has to happen. He's been around for so long that it's crazy that it's not gonna be like it always has been, but it just sucks because maybe it wasn't what he would have chosen to leave on. It wasn't on his terms.
Yeah, exactly.
Really. It was just kind of the cancel culture. I don't want to talk too much out of turn because I don't really know the full scope of why he's doing this, other than I know there were some allegations and some secret funds for hiding and paying off people and whatnot. So, I mean, you can't do that. But this motherfucker was in the wrestling world since like what, the 70s, the 60s, whatever.
Yeah, 70s, man. I mean, and then he got it from his dad before we were born. So like he's had that company our whole life.
And he's been in the wrestling world his whole life, trying to build it, being involved in it, working with people in it. And I think we can all agree that when you look back on at least the past of the wrestling world, it was filled with a lot of people who I wouldn't call savory folk. So you had to do some crazy shit. You were involved in crazy shit. And I'm not going to besmirch the man. I'm like you. I love that dude. I respect what he's done. It sucks that this is happening, but Stephanie McMahon, she's hot. She's a bad bitch, and she'll continue the legacy. There's still a McMahon at the helm, Steve.
Oh yeah, it's time for a new era, man.
Tell toys are fun, you see. Now you can get them so easily with toy money. With Christmas near, toy money. Cut here and here on Coca-Cola, Classic, Diet Coke, and Sprite. Toy money.
Look for Toy Money coupons on specially marked packages of Coca-Cola Classic, Diet Coke, and Sprite. You'll save $1, $2, up to $7 instantly on select Mattel toys.
Toy money. Toy money.
Well, hey, boys and girls, this is Stephen Jesus and Matthew But a G Thing with It Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about things that happened in the 90s. So get out your 2 Live Crew posters and your coupons to call Miss Cleo, because I'm searching for a real love. Someone to shake my heart, the real love. I'm searching for our real love.
Yeah.
That's that 90s. You got to do that little Christina. Yeah.
Get that shit, Steve. Yeah, man. Fucking burner. Honestly, Steve, we had a lot of options this week. A lot of options. We went off kilter a little bit last week, but this week it's almost an embarrassment of riches, really, at least for movie wise.
Man, shame on you, 721, for only giving us music. The music was good, but we needed movies. We need shows. Shit. We needed a break at the same time.
Yeah, you got to mix it up. I enjoyed it. I'm still reeling from losing that because I had victory just nestled into my bosom, but I lost it. But, shout out to you for having, picking the obvious choice, Steve.
Well, the award was Strife, so it evens out. You see my Strife trophy? See right here?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, and you don't see anything because the Stripe trophy is like your imagination and having to see on the bright side and look at the glass half full. Blah, blah, blah. But I won some Strife. Here, more Strife for the next week. But today, my friend, we are talking about all things July 28th in the 90s.
One day off. It was almost my birthday, Steve. We almost hit her right on my birthday, but one day off.
Oh.
Celebrate me more than these episodes.
We're talking about all things Matthew get it in the 90s.
I was fat. I was eating a lot. Hey, Steve, I just talked to some lady that visited with my mom from Perrysburg. All of her memories of me are of eating food, loving food, and being amazed by food. So shocking.
Why would you? Why would you? And she just said it nonchalantly.
No, it was just like natural. It's like, we remember doing this. And I was like, oh, yeah, you had some, because she was like a baker and she always made like these cheesecakes. And I'm telling you, Steve, these things she could make millions, but she just never sold them. But she remembered it. She remembered a fat young Mac coming over, just mauling cheesecake by the slice.
Peer pressuring. You want some of this.
Hey, fatty.
Come on.
You're a fatty. Here. So yeah, that was nice. It was nice to to remember the good old days when I was just
Fucking
facing
bitch.
cheesecake.
Thanks for the memories, you whore.
I also confirmed that yes, Spaghetti Warehouse still exists in Toledo, Ohio, so I can go back.
Wow. The last spaghetti warehouse on earth.
That sounds so generic. Spaghetti Warehouse.
Well, shit, to us Toledoans and surrounding area people, it sounded fancy at the time. But in 1990, we're going to talk about the Howard Stern Show again. Roseanne Barr sings the national anthem. Richard Simmons appears. Billy West is Ed McMahon in Starsearch. The rapper Young MC and Amy Lynn, his ex-girlfriend, shows up and she's stripping. Stuttering John interviews Paul Harvey and Candice Bergan's mom, Frances. And Felix Cavalieri sings Rascals.
This show is, the more I watch it, the more I realize that this was way ahead of its time, Steve. This show was killer.
He's the king. Hell yeah. Like, I'm going to watch them all.
Well, shit, I watched the wrong one today just because, but I got to say, in that, he was talking about getting bad ratings, or bad reviews, but he gave this fucking shit ass regional channel like a huge rating share that they've never had, proving that he is, in fact, at least at this time, the king of radio and TV, not maybe the king of all media. I don't know. He's getting close.
Not yet, but man, he's got it figured out at this point, man. Like, just garnering attention and like knowing that people want mess. Even the most innocent, naive, like, we all like a little mess. And Howard is a messy motherfucker, which is why we appreciate him.
Yeah, I mean, we get to just see Roseanne just or a fake Roseanne at the beginning, just fucking squealing at the beginning like a little piggy. This is so great though, because I mean, this guy got to just talk about whatever the weekly headline, messy ass headline was, and just go in on it. And most of the time, he knew these fucking people, which is even crazy. He don't give a fuck. He's just like, yeah. I mean, I respect Roseanne, but her shit sounded like shit. Like, I mean, he has Richard Simmons on here, which is always hilarious because, I mean. What?
Take your pick.
Like, what is Richard so much Simmons' deal, dude? Like, what is going on?
I don't see the fitness, bro. You just look like a middle-aged dude. Like, I don't see like bulking muscles. I don't see like veins in the calves. Like, you just like, you wear short shorts and tank tops and just like, hey, everybody, sweating to the oldies. But Howard got him good, dude.
Yeah, the whole show, at least the first 30 minutes was just trashing him, fucking with him. I mean, and rightfully so. This guy comes out like skipping along with fucking flowers and fucking fake pussies and shit, cat shit. I don't know what he was tossing around. I don't know what the fuck that shit was.
Ass.
Yeah, I don't know.
And so like they tell him that they're going to play his Sweating to the Oldies, and instantly Richard is like, what the fuck did you do to my
I don't want to see this. I don't want to see what's on the screen. It's like, well, bitch, you're gonna see it, okay?
Yeah, I don't know what to say. You came all the way here. This is my show.
Well, apparently, Howard was like, this fucking guy has all these demands coming on the show. You need a first class ticket. He tells him he needed a postcard of nude Cub Scouts to come on the show. Just fucking with him the whole time. And I like, if I'm Richard Simmons, he did this a lot. Like, he came on Howard Stern a lot. So they did have like whatever relationship they had, but it was always this. It's like, hey, Richard, what's the deal with the shorts? Yeah. You fucking pussy. What are you doing?
And Richard plays the best like fall guy for Howard. He's like one of the celebrities that's like perfect for that, because he's a character himself, and you know, Howard, he's a character, and I just feel like they're like the opposite ends of the spectrum in a way. and like they play the Sweat into the Oldies, and a guy is like green screened in. He's wearing a leather BDSM costume, and he's like, "Hey Richard, this music is so loud. Don't they know any show tunes? Come on, Richard, let's get cheek to cheek." And the shit was fucking, oh my goodness.
I don't know who that man is. What is that?
Yeah.
And Howard's apologetic. He's like, okay, you know, this isn't the real tape. My bad. And then he puts in another tape, and it's like a Soul Train of like a line of fat chicks, and then like some fat chick just pukes. Like
this is fucking gold.
And the whole time he's like, I was gonna bring friends out, but I don't want to. And Howard's like, yeah, bring your fat fucking friends out. And at one point, while he brings these two poor former or fat guys, whatever you want to call them, Howard is like he has like a fucking bag of Lay's chips on a fishing pole, and he's dangling it in front of him, trying to tempt him to eat and shit. God,
snacks in their face.
The one though, there was one that was just like a Tony Baloney Italian guy in like a tracksuit, but the other one that looked like Dusty Rhodes's fucking special cousin, Duddy Rhodes.
This is my cousin Duddy Rhodes. He gonna ship my equipment around from time to time, baby.
She got a little bit of a weight problem, but she's still sweet. You know, just don't make any loud noises around her. She might rip your face off.
You know what? I like Artie Lang more than Jackie the Joke Man, but Jackie Joke Man, his squealing laugh, that it adds so much to the humor. Like when Howard gets over on somebody and you just hear that, it's just so like high pitch. It's just like, oh my god, dude.
It cuts through it. I love that you do get that too, because I mean he's shitting on people and it could be awkward, but there's just like this laughter that's constantly like hitting after everything. It is great. And I'm sure also Jackie's laughing because he probably fed Howard a lot of those fucking jokes anyway, you know, and he's just, it's like, oh, that one nailed it.
And man, this show is also responsible for introducing us to Billy West, man. This was before Futurama and all of that other shit, man. And he's on this show a lot, man. I saw another episode where he's playing the curly-haired Stooge from Three Stooges, and he's just like a drunk, and he's got Alzheimer's. And it's wrong, it's bad, but it's hilarious. Just like this Ed McMahon parody Billy West is doing. And he's like around these like young like peach fish bitches in a hotel room, and he's like doing a ad for a Starsearch. He's like, "Come meet a wine-soaked drunken banana. Hey, room service, bring up more KY and KO Pactate."
Hey, yes.
He rates one of the
chicks 13.
Yeah. If you have a dot on your forehead or a fuzzy back, don't reply.
I can. Also, yeah, Billy West, the one I watched, the Mistaken episode, he played Frank Sinatra on Alzheimer's crooning, and that shit was fucking funny as fuck.
That was the Alzheimer's.
Buck be a sandwich tonight.
He doesn't even remember his songs.
It's fucking great, dude. But yeah, Billy West was like, I mean, he was like just a king of boy. I think he did a lot of prank phone calls and shit too for Howard. So like he was one of those guys, and it's crazy how big he got from this, because you don't see a lot of those other dudes like where the fuck's Jackie the fucking Joke Man now and shit, you know,
selling his CDs.
Yeah,
and
the one with the donut and the hot dogs and donuts, dude.
Man, I like the Marge shot that he did, man, in Billy West when he prank called people. But dude, Young MC is introduced, and you know, he's chopping it up with Howard, and Howard, as usual, he's trolling. He asks him like, "Why do rappers hate white people?" And Young MC's like, "Dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Like that doesn't." And so he mentions NWA, fuck the police. I'm like, look, man, like that doesn't like speak for all rappers, man. There's like rappers all over the country.
Yeah, Howard's
But
coming in with
it,
some very white guy questions like, hey, bro, what's up with all these fucking homies saying shit? It's like, ugh.
just poking,
Yeah,
poking. And if that wasn't enough, he brings out his hot ex-girlfriend, Amy Lynn. And man, just a nice, delicious treat.
I mean, and not only does he bring her out, like apparently Young MC's ghosted this chick. She's not happy with him. She comes out fine. And then Howard's like, hey, by the way, I took your broad out to fucking Joe Baloney, the strip club in fucking New Jersey someplace. Watch this tape. And it's just a tape of him with her naked in a limo. Amazing. I mean, I'm not hating on this at all. And then they go to some fucking VFW someplace in like Teaneck, New Jersey, filled with the like what looked like off-duty cops and people that worked at pizzerias around the area, just like hundreds of these dudes in a VFW watching this chick strip. I mean, this was like OnlyFans back in the day, in the 90s, Steve. She was there doing some promotional shit.
Well, first they had a dude come out dressed in drag, which is kind of hilarious, and then Amy comes out dressed as a cop, and she's stripping to Young MC's hit "Bust a Move." That shit still goes hard.
Officer Nasty. Again. But I do not want to go to that. Whatever that strip club was, it looks like it was in the back of some guy's house. I didn't care for that.
Man, I don't even think it was a strip club, man. That might have been like an old, like East of Chicago factory or some shit.
I'm telling, dude, I think it was a VFW, dude. It looked like a fucking VFW. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
And they do the local news or the national news, and they play the actual clip of Roseanne singing the national anthem, and that was a big deal because after she did that, she like. I forgot, like she like grabbed her crotch as if she had a dick
and spit,
and, then, like, and spit on the ground. And at the same breath, she said that she's patriotic, she's American, blah blah blah. Like that didn't show.
She's like, "I'll do it again." She didn't fucking give a fuck, which is, I mean, I don't give a fuck. And Howard Stern he even said it. He's like, don't think people like they've lost their fucking sense of humor. Who gives a fuck? Is Roseanne Barr, you think she was going to belt out some Aretha Franklin fucking national anthem? You think that's going to come out of that package?
No.
You know, it was fun. But I mean, I didn't remember like you that, you know, she did that and it was whatever. But then, yeah, she like doubled down and grabbed herself and fucking violently spit on the plate. I was like, damn, okay. I get why people are a little pissed, I guess.
Yeah, you coming in hot, Rosie. Yeah, and like another one of my favorite parts is Stuttering John interviewing people, and this time he interviews Paul Harvey. I don't know who he is, but Dick Clark is in the background, and he just walks away. I think he can see the shit unfolding.
That's what I love, though. That like, you know, eventually, I don't even know why if they have to, but like Stuttering John at some point has to go like, "Hey, I'm with the Howard Stern Summer Show," and as soon as he says that, you can tell some people are like, "Okay, all right."
That's so cute.
But I gotta say, Paul Harvey though had like the guy was like a radio personality. And he speaks slowly and he pauses a lot. So Howard Stern made Stuttering John like pause a lot while he's interviewing him. And even some of the questions he was asking, I was like, man, this old guy actually has like a good sense of humor. I thought this was going to be one of the ones where the guy's like, all right, buddy, fuck you. Like, you know, getting pissed off.
Does being Paul Harvey get you a lot of girls?
Just a lot of real long extended pauses. And even he interviews Candice Bergan's mom, which I don't understand why, but she even had a great sense of humor about the shit, you know?
Yeah. Well, because I don't know if you're familiar with Candice Bergen's dad, but he was a famous ventriloquist, like one of the first like American like superstar ventriloquists. And that like he was asking questions about like some of the puppets and shit. Like, have you ever had a affair with Mr. Knucklehead or some shit like that? And when they cut back to the studio, Howard asked, "What's that helmet she's wearing on her head?" Oh, God. And they wrap it up with Felix Cavalieri, who looks like he's about to perform Skinnamarink Dinky Doo. But apparently he's one of Howard's favorite artists, and he plays some middle-aged music.
I gotta say though, I can see why Howard Stern wanted to have like these artists on, because he like does backup vocals and shit. It must be kind of cool for him to get to sing with these guys that well, I don't know if he idolized the motherfucker, but he did this. He had Sam Kinison fucking shredding with some guy from the Eagles on that other episode I watched, and he was like
Joe Walsh.
Yeah, that shit was fucking great, dude. It was fucking cool. He has some good, like, for what it is. I mean, this guy just has a fucking Casio on the tabletop, but he fucking, shout out to fucking Cavalieri or whatever the fuck his name is, dude.
Yeah, you remember Fred Penner's Place?
No.
Oh, well, it was a Nickelodeon show, like a little kid show, and the guy he dressed like Frank Cavalieri, and he's yeah, the show is set like in the jungle, and he's got all these little puppet friends, like a little iguana and little fucking.
I do remember that shit now that you're describing it. Hell yeah.
And he's singing songs on his acoustic, but yeah, he dressed like Fred Penner. Shout out to Fred Penner. I don't know if you're alive, but Bankhead Bounce is somebody who didn't see this episode of Howard Stern on July 28, 1990.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Soulja Boy, American rapper, producer, and actor. Yeah, he was born DeAndre Cortez Way. Soulja Boy, man.
Superman there, Steve.
He walked so a lot of these mumble rappers could run. He is the Little Richard of mumble rap, and he will remind you any and every chance he will get. Big Soulja, Bankhead Bounce, Drake. And you provided one of the greatest modern memes of all time. That following year, in 1991, Dennis Martinez pitches the 13th perfect game in baseball history. Fucking Hoss.
Fucking Hoss.
Yeah, man. He was a Cleveland Indian, but he wasn't at this point in his career. He was a Montreal Expo. That game was over about 200 years old, and it was only 13 perfect games, man.
That's crazy as fuck. That is, I mean, when that happens, like I remember a couple times whenever they would get close to a perfect game, like Sports Center would stop, whatever was on the air, they'd stop the shit and be like, okay, this is about to happen. It's going to happen. Oh, he fucked it up. Fuck. Okay. Back to your normal scheduled programming. Sorry about that.
Back to World Poker Tour or some shit.
God, so many nights I would watch. I don't even know why, Steve. What was the allure of fucking Texas Hold'em for like 5 years that people were just fucking consuming and playing Texas Hold'em so much? I don't get it.
For your one lucky day in Vegas. Yeah, man, I'm getting the tips. Yeah.
Hit it big.
I'm gonna make money. That following year, 1992, EPMD releases the album Business, Never Personal. It is considered their last like classic album. EPMD, they made a name for themselves in the 80s, and shortly after this album, they broke up.
Was it the album, Steve?
Oh man, there were some money issues. Man. So they began having money troubles during recording, which led to a 1992 robbery of Parrish Smith. He's the Pete. They robbed his home, and the perpetrators claim that Eric Sermon paid them to do the deed, causing the group to break up soon after its release. They each released 2 solo albums between 1993 and 96, and then reunited as a duo in 97. I remember seeing The Beef back when those were DVDs, and like this story was covered, man. They're considered pioneers of the game. It's got the hits Crossover, but my shit is Headbangers. What the Headbangers? It's got a young Red Man and his cousin K Solo.
I mean, I know a lot of Eric Sermon shit. EPMD it rings a bell, but I can't say that I listen to him a lot. But Shout out to EPMD and definitely shout out to that show fucking Beefs, because that was one of the fucking best music shows, at least one of my favorites.
Like
I
a
could watch that
docuseries.
shit all day. Beef, like I think it was like 2 or 3. I remember. I think I had that shit on my computer just ready to go.
I had one of them. I can't remember, but that same day, 1992, Mary J. Blige releases her debut album, "What's the 411?" And I'll tell you what the 411 is, Mary. Let's get married.
Oh, Steve.
Cause you remind me of a love that I once knew.
Mary?
Yeah.
It's crazy. What year was this? 91?
92.
92, dude. Man. And where is she at now? She's a fucking like diva now.
She is on top of the game, looking 50 fine.
Hell yeah, dude. Mary J. Blige can still get it.
Fuck yes, you can. Give me them yams. And this was actually produced. One of the producers was Sean Puffy Combs. This was like his way of getting his foot in the door, man.
Take that.
And it's got the hits "You Remind Me," "Real Love," "Reminisce," "Sweet Thing," "Love No Limit." This is probably my favorite Mary J. Blige album.
See, even I know that shit, Steve. Even a white boy from Perrysburg knew about this shit.
Couldn't avoid it, man. It's Mary J. with the black and white videos. She's considered like the queen of R&B hip hop, you know?
They played her heavy on 107.3, the Juice FM in Toledo back in the day.
Timeless, man. That following year, 1993, Robin Hood, Men in Tights premieres in theaters. And it's a spoof of Robin Hood in general, and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves in particular. Directed by Mel Brooks, starring Carrie Elwes.
How you say it? I don't know. I always say Elwes or something. I don't know.
Elwes. Richard Lewis, Roger Reese, Amy Yazbek, Dave Chappelle, Isaac Hayes, and Patrick Stewart make it so.
This is the only Robin Hood movie I like, Steve. Fuck
Yeah.
Robin Hood as in general. I'm done. I'm over it. The Fox movie and Disney, sure.
Pussy.
It's fine. But this is my Robin Hood, Steve.
I mean, Mel Brooks, man. And before you ask, he's still with us. And
I knew that. I actually knew that in a weird way, because right when I moved from California, he was doing a personal appearance at a casino. He was still doing live shows mid-pandemic. I don't know what he does at these live shows. I think it's just like him on stage discussing being awesome, but shout out fucking Mel Brooks.
Still
killing
crushing
it,
man.
It's good to be the king.
Killing it for, I mean, fuck.
Dude.
I don't even know. When did fucking Blazing Saddles come out? Because that shit's fire. You know, the history of the world and shit. Those movies were fire.
Young Frankenstein.
Frankenstein's Young Frankenstein, Steve. Spaceballs is honestly that's my personal favorite Mel Brooks movie. That's the one that I first found out about and fell in love with Mel Brooks about. So shout out to fucking Mel goddamn fucking Brooks, because you are a fucking badass.
And who would have thought that the guy that plays Ah Chu is going to end up being the biggest star in the movie?
It's wild to watch this too, because he's so young. He kills this. I mean, it's fucking funny as fuck. He does his job, and yeah, it is wild. There's a lot of really awesome, funny ass performances in this. The guy that plays the sheriff of Rottingham kills this. I mean, he almost steals the fucking show. Yeah, he's like a coked up. It's like the guy. He looks like the guy in Die Hard that's all yacked out that betrays everybody. And he basically is that guy in this movie. He's an asshole.
And Roger Reese actually had a recurring role on Cheers. He played Rebecca's like rich, stuffy, like on again, off again fiance. Yeah.
The motherfucker is funny as shit, dude. He has a lot of just fun, and he plays a dyslexic, dude in this. So there's a lot of that, but he kills this. Chappelle kills this. I mean, Amy Asbeck, Steve. I mean, we can talk about her all day. We've already have ad nauseum, and she's looking fine in this.
I fucks with some Amy Asbecks, even with that Marty Jannetty ass hair.
And you know something I realized watching this yesterday that I never knew. I have never put this together. The chick who's like her whatever handmaiden or the fat chick.
Yeah.
You know who that is? And maybe you don't because you might not even watch this. There's a movie called A League of Their Own, the female baseball movie with Gina Davis.
Yeah.
She plays Marla Hooch. I didn't know that was fucking Marla Hooch this whole fucking time, Steve.
The freaking bulldaggerish
boy, she can hit. She's the one that ain't a looker, basically.
The one that's looking like Babe Ruth.
Oh no, you can't make until you get married. She's just always cock blocking in this movie, basically.
And Tracy Ullman, shout out to her, man. She's responsible for introducing us to the Simp songs. And you know, she was on Showtime with her Tracy Ullman show back in the day, along with Gary Shandling show. I could only get access when they had the free trials every other month or so. But thanks for keeping me and my mom entertained, Tracy Ullman.
She plays a funny character too, a witch named Latrine who's disgusting and horny. And it's a witch. I mean, I can't. It's just weird because I was watching it. I mean, it's a dated movie. It's fucking corny. It's a slapstick movie. It's a musical in ways, but it's fucking funny. I was laughing. Kendra, not as much, but you know, to each his own or her own, I guess.
Because, like you said, it is kind of dated, but I still appreciate it. Like Mel Brooks, he's always been big on sight gags in his movies. Like the whole silhouette where Carrie Uwais is singing to Amy Asbeck, and they think he's got a raging hard on when it's really his sword, and they're just like, he's like, oh.
There's his whole posse's like, yeah.
Like, geez, like, dude, there's no way someone's hung like that.
I mean, he's very into like sex jokes, a lot of like busty ladies hiding under steps, and some guy like creeping up, like looking at tits, like Benny Hill shit, you know?
I was just about to say, very Benny Hill inspired, man. And you can never go wrong with big ass titties.
But I love the breaking of the fourth wall. Characters will just like look at the audience and just say shit to you in the movie because it's ridiculous. And I just think Mel Brooks I think he gets the credit. He's a legend, you know, but this movie, I for whatever reason, I think it's because Robin Hood's a boring story. To me, Spaceballs holds up more. There's a lot more like fun. It's more like joke. And there's not as much. I don't like musicals as much, but this shit's fucking hilarious, dude. I love my favorite shit. I love the guy that plays Little John, like that big yoke dude that was in every 90s movie. He was always like a bodyguard and shit.
The first thing that comes to mind, like he played the neighbor on the Hugleys. He was D.L. Hughley's neighbor.
Here's a very deep cut, Steve, that I realized that he's something I love this guy from that is from a great movie. You remember in True Romance, right? Near the end, they meet up like with a drug dealer or a guy to make like a drug deal in like a hotel room. I think it's like the producer guy. And he has like these really aggressive bodyguards that are like willing to get into a shootout with cops over nothing. And this guy plays one of those bodyguards.
I knew that's something I was forgetting, man, because True Romance is my shit. And this dude was a veteran character actor, man.
Everybody just nails it. I mean, even fucking Isaac Hayes is in this for 5 seconds and he kills it. What is his name? A Sneeze?
So, yeah, because he plays Achu, Dave Chappelle's character's dad.
Yeah.
And even shout out to Richard Lewis. I was never big on his comedy, but he held it down as Prince John. I feel like he was Paul Reiser before Paul Reiser, like that New York. What's that term you use? Nebbish.
Nebbish. Like, he's the most nebbish prince of all time. The noise.
Look at this. Look at this oat muffin. Like, why would you put oats? How many oats go into this muffin? Like, who gives a fuck? You're not funny. I'm sorry. But Richard Lewis, much respect. Somebody loves you. Mel Brooks cared about you.
I love this scene because at one point they're like, Robin's back. we got to do something. So Richard Lewis uses he's like, we got to go to the witch latrine and figure it out. And she's like, eye of newt, son of blood, like dragon's blood and shit. And he's like, do you think all this stuff's going to help me get rid of this guy? And she's like, I'm just your cook, motherfucker. I don't know what you're talking about. Fucking stupid. But this is something I was thinking about too while I was watching this. I mean, I've seen this so many times. This was a fucking movie I watched ad nauseum in the 90s, but this kind of, and we've said it before, like the slapstick, the scary movie type movies, and this sort of in the same vein, they don't make this shit anymore. Like it's not something that is even made. It's crazy. You remember Hot Shots? Do you remember fucking Hot Shots, Steve? 1 or Part 2?
I saw Part 2 in the theater, and I mean the Naked Guns. I saw Part 2 of that, 2.5.
I saw 33 in the third, I think, in the theater. A Naked Gun. I like those movies. I love Liam. What's the fucking guy's name? I'm fucking spacing. I love the main guy in Naked Gun. I keep wanting to say
Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Neal. I was like, Liam Neeson is not that guy, but
no.
No, I miss that because these fucking movies. There's a place for goofy slapstick comedy. It shouldn't be dead. Somebody
like
needs
most Wayans movies.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like they kept it going, and they were great at it. But at a certain point, I don't know. It was like them inundating the market with that kind of movie, or just in general the market having a lot of that. You just don't see it anymore. It's crazy. You
don't, man. That following year, 1993, we're going to talk about this guy again because I mean it's baseball and it's the 90s. Mariner Ken Griffey Jr. is the third person that hit home runs in 8 straight games.
Damn, Ken, stop being such a bad motherfucker, dude. I saw at a thrift store one of those upper deck, like the little figurines like in the pose, and it had him like it was like his all-star one with his hat backwards and shit. With that I was like, damn, I need to get that.
See, if I had the funds, I would have just stockpiles of that type of shit. Bankhead bows for Ken Griffey. That following year, 1994, Texas Rangers pitcher Kenny Rogers throws the only perfect game in franchise history against the California Angels.
Well, there was just that's such a great baseball. Kenny Rogers fits. That's the type of person that's fucking watching baseball now, Steve.
Kenny Rogers, man, the gambler.
You gotta know when to hold them. Some guy I know, that same people I met from Ohio, the one guy looks like Kenny Rogers, and my wife is convinced that at least 95% of older like white guys that are my dad's age all look exactly the same.
Damn,
it's just like the coloration of the beards a little bit different, but they're all a basic baked potato style white guy with a nice little mustache, maybe a beard, looking svelte, looking good.
Now, I got my master's in white people, and I'm going to have to disagree with Kendra.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, there is a Kenny Rogers prototype. But then again, like, what if you're bald and you have no facial hair?
You rock that fucking hat like I do, Steve, and then you just keep it going. You push on.
Well, that's what Kenny Rogers and the Rangers did. They pushed on. Look at him hugging Pudge Rodriguez. And Pudge is saying to him, good job, buddy. We got the rest of the summer off. Because on that same day in 1994, baseball players decided to strike. Effectively August 12th, 1994.
We're going on vacation.
Yeah, man. I wish they would go on vacation this year because that would be less stress for Steve. Hey, kid, fuck you. Nobody cares.
Fuck you, chud ass kid. No one cares. No one. Do you really care if fucking baseball fucking strikes, Steve? I mean, obviously you have some motivation for it too, but just personally, if you didn't work in an industry that depended on baseball, I wouldn't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck now.
I can't name you 10 baseball players. I really can't.
I'm kind of forced to.
Is Ichiro Suzuki still a baseball player, or is he retired? He's long gone.
He retired like a year or two ago.
Okay.
He was a bad motherfucker too.
Yeah,
but
dude killed it. But no, I can't. I fuck it. I like this happened then. They keep striking. It's one of the few leagues. It's like every like 10 years they get a bug up their ass and they just want to fucking stop playing for a while, which is wild because they get paid a lot of fucking money to play a really slow, boring game.
I think they're the highest paid, aren't they? Of like the North American sports.
I think weirdly enough, maybe this is I think like per capita and per like maybe not, but I know like hockey players get paid a shit ton of money and it's like bizarre. It's like a bizarre amount. I don't know. I would think basketball players get paid the most money, but then again, like Deshaun Watson just got paid a quarter of $1 billion. So I don't know. You know, who knows?
Yeah, everybody ain't Brian. But that following year, 1995, Kids premieres in theaters. A day in the life of a group of teens as they travel around New York City, skating, drinking, smoking, and deflowering virgins.
Steve, we could have watched this, but I was just like, man, I don't feel like having a downer day. This movie's like Requiem for a Dream. I don't need this in my life. I don't need to see this shit in my life.
Especially considering the backstory of some of these performers, man. Like the black guy, he passed away. Harold, man. I didn't catch his last name. But yeah, he was a famous skater. And the guy who played Roach on Next Friday.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that dude's dead. I forgot that guy was in this, honestly. I associate him with Next Friday, and it's way more of a fun watch than this.
Justin Pierce.
Rosario Dawson she got found on this movie, right?
She did, and I believe this was Chloe Sevigny's first debut film too. It was a debut for a lot of people.
Well, Rosario, love me some Rosario Dawson. Chloe Sevigny or Sevigny or whatever, I could do without. But you know, this movie, along with Gummo, I mean, I'm sure you were all over this shit because this was a Harmony Korine joint. This was a Larry Clark joint.
Larry Clark, that whole camp.
And it's gross. There's a lot of really fucked up kids shit going on in this.
Yeah, like for one, the guy gets bludgeoned with a fucking bunch of skateboards to the head, and there is a amputee on the bus who's just singing, "I have no legs, I have no legs," and he ain't lying.
And the AIDS at the end. I mean, there's a lot going on here, and it is a great movie. It's fucking good, but it's disturbing. It's really fucked up. This honestly is more fucked up to me because Gummo, while it's disturbing, it's almost like surreal because of how ugly and like weird this shit is. It's like not this I can actually see just happening and just being tragic, but Gummo in some way is, I guess, more funny to me.
It's totally funnier. Like Kids is more serious, and like they're both possibilities. This is based in New York. Gummo was based out of Xenia, Ohio, and Gummo, like I feel like we've seen some of these characters in small town Ohio, just off a beaten path, just like 5 years behind the rest of the world. And yeah,
like we were hanging out with some people in Bromfield that could have been in this movie. Let's put it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Maybe not New York, but the same kind of fucked up shit that was going on. It's like, all right, you know, I'm not going to hang out over there, but that guy behind you,
Telly,
that dude's a motherfucker. That guy's a good actor. He's been in a lot of shit. And I do like Harmony Korine. That guy is an interesting dude. Let's put it like that. You know, he seems like a guy who's like a self-destructive artist type, and he makes some real fucking like surreal, trippy, like I guess you could even call it almost like tragic psychedelic type movies that are just so fucking bizarre that you want to watch them, but they're not necessarily the best movies though. You know what I mean?
didn't he do Spring Breakers?
Yep, he did that.
Yeah.
He did this movie. I remember him talking about it, and I don't even remember what it was. This might have just been like an experiment, or maybe he was shooting a commercial or something. But he was talking about how he had to shoot something, and his DP was getting pissed because he was like, this guy was like a professional telling me I couldn't shoot this movie this way, and he just had like dozens of digital cameras hung on strings from a ceiling in this room turned on
about that.
but they're just like hanging, swinging, you know, you can't control the light and all this shit. And it was just like, man, it must be weird to work with some guy who is so like convinced that he's right and a good artist that he'll do like crazy shit like that. And, you know, I guess you could say it works in a way. He's making movies, people are going to see him, but the shit is fucked up. Like even Spring Breakers, which wasn't to me as like disturbing. It was just kind of like, if Riff Raff was a real like trying to be like a real thug type thing, like the thing I took most on that movie was how ridiculous Gucci Mane was in it, but that's about it.
Because this is Fat Gucci. Like Fat Gucci Man was a monster.
Yeah,
he was a boogeyman.
You couldn't understand a word coming out of his mouth, and he was just like rocking a beer gut, a wife beater, and some real fucking loose shorts. And I just remember watching that movie being like, what the fuck is going on in this? James Franco's got a fucking grill in with some fucking cornrows, and he's arguing with Gucci Mane in a fucking neon drug den. I don't know. What the fuck?
He cut more hoes than Wolverine put 26s on the Batmobile. And that same day, 1995, your favorite movie, The Net, premiered in theaters.
Hey, babe.
Hey, I'm on the net. A computer programmer stumbles upon a conspiracy, putting her life and the lives of those around her in great danger. Directed by Erwin Winkler. You'll never work in this town again. Starring Sandra Bullock, Jeremy Northam, and Dennis Miller.
Hey, babe. We're on the net, babe. I just remember this was like one of those HBO movies that was constantly like replayed. I've seen it. It would probably be hilarious to watch, not only because Steve's hatred of Sandra Bullock and Dennis Miller, but the hilarious interpretation of what the internet was, and like it's just ridiculous. And there's a lot of Dennis Miller going, Sandra, hey babe, you're getting a little bit deep on the net, babe. It's basically Steve did a version of this, just like he freeballed a version of this off the top of his head, and it was comically accurate to what this movie actually is.
And I ain't seen it. Never will.
I almost wanted to watch it just to make you like blast off on the show, but you know, we needed to watch a fucking Mel Brooks classic, not this fucking toilet bowl piece of shit.
And I'm at my threshold for strife this summer. I needed to.
We'll hold off on that.
Yeah, let's let it simmer. I did like the fact, I didn't know about this because I ain't never seen the shit, but Ken Howard, he played a role in The Net, and Ken Howard, I know him mostly for being the White Shadow. It was an old, like late 70s, early 80s TV show where a retired NBA player for the Chicago Bulls, played by Ken Howard, he gets injured, has a career-ending injury, and he becomes a basketball coach for the inner city youth in Los Angeles. And great storylines, especially for its time, man. They talked about suicide, they talked about teenage pregnancy, and this guy was just a basketball coach, and he's managing all of these little like half-raised kids and like taking care of their issues. But Ken Howard, man, he was a real one. That same day, 95, Operation Dumbo Drop. It couldn't get any dumber. We just talked about The Net. To keep the loyalty of a village during the Vietnam War, a U.S. Army officer and his unit struggled to deliver a live elephant. Directed by Simon Windsor, with Danny Glover, Ray Liotta, and Dennis Leary, Dougie Doug, and even Parker Lewis, Corn Nimmick.
Yeah, this movie, I remember even as a kid being like, this movie's dumb as shit. And at one point, they literally drop a fucking elephant out of a gigantic plane and into Sandra Bullock's tits. No, into Vietnam. I didn't remember. I remember.
Never said the girl was ugly.
Hey, man. But yeah, this movie, just avoid it like the plague. You know, avoid it like Richard Simmons avoids pussy. Just walk away because it's not worth it.
The premise alone, like Ray Liotta, bro, like Goodfellas, man, like shit.
They had these guys in a room. You could have made a different movie and just taken Disney's money, but no, they decided to make a movie where apparently dropping an elephant into a Vietnam village just saves everybody, I guess. I don't know. I don't even remember why. Like, I guess it's a religious or a cultural thing, maybe. I don't know. But thankfully, the elephant didn't die. You see him here about 30,000 feet just dropping. He's good. And, Danny Glover, Ray Liotta, and everybody else got a check. So I guess everybody wins.
Danny Glover, you weren't too old for this shit? Because I am. I was when I was 12. I was too old. Like, yeah, man, fuck this shit. Somebody who probably didn't watch any of these movies in 1995 was probably Art Modell, because he was being a punk ass bitch. His rep began secrets of talks to move the team to Baltimore. And he will never be forgiven.
Yeah, he almost got strung up by Cleveland, but I think he was doing the town a favor, honestly.
Oh,
like, why? Let me take this thing and actually make it successful so we can win a Super Bowl. And they don't, there's no winning to be done in that fucking town. So
unless you're the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016, Cavs in 7, never forget.
But Browns, they're back. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna play. They fucking banked $500 million on one guy. That's I don't know.
If he's gonna play? Yeah, man. They got rid of Buster Mayberry.
They're bringing Jimmy G in, Steve. They're just gonna spend a full $1 billion on their quarterback room and just see what happens. Maybe they'll get Buster Mayberry back. They're gonna do something. I don't know.
Janine Garofalo, they're gonna have him as the quarterback.
Yeah, dude. Janine's in.
Yeah.
Deshaun's out for maybe 8, maybe a full season. But I gotta say, dude, they pulled some shit. They made that guy's contract so that even if he got suspended a full year, he only loses $1 million of all that money. It's like, damn, dude, you guys knew. They were like, yeah, we know you're a fucking piece of shit, but after a year, people will forget about this. It'll be all good.
And he won. He got the fuck out of shitty Texas. And I get it. You're going to the Browns. But like the Texans, they got the same fate. Y'all ain't gonna win shit. Never won shit. Never will. Just ask Warren Moon. And hey, maybe we should start going to massage parlors and come up in a fortune. But please like, share, and subscribe for more tips on how to properly roll a resin blunt.
Ugh. I've been there, Steve. Resi blunts? Does that even work?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, sprinkle it in to like fill it out, but a full like just snake of resin in a blunt?
Circumstances can force you into being a MacGyver of a sort. But that following year, 1996, New York Yankee Darryl Strawberry hits his 300th home run. Suited and booted.
Daryl. Dude, how fucking like what is crack like that you can just be fucking killing it on the field just cracked out, Steve? What happened?
That speaks on his athleticism. Think about if he didn't smoke crack.
Doc, what was that guy's name? Doc Gooden or Doc Ellis?
Doc Gooden.
The one that did like LSD and threw a perfect game.
Oh, Doc Ellis. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these guys can come out here and do. I mean, crack though. I could see like acid somehow maybe making you hyper focused. That would be crazy. But just a straight crack smoke, I don't know, Steve. I don't think I could do that.
I know I won't do it. Despite how much I know
I won't do it. I'm Steve G, and I will not do crack. I'm here.
Because I can't help but think when you first smoke a crack pipe, like nothing in your head is saying like, dude, this is like where I'm at now. I'm about to like smoke some crack. Like,
yeah, I mean, when you get there, like when you're even considering that you're like, all right, maybe. Like if you're there, you need to stop. Like you've gone way past the edge. Stick with the weed. Stick maybe a mushroom or two.
If you see me with a crack pipe in my hand, shoot me in the face.
I don't even know how to. I would be like Dennis and D buying crack. I don't even know how to buy it, Steve. How much does what is a workable, what do you think a workable amount of crack costs? Is it like a 5 spot?
It's inexpensive. That's why it was created, is because it's not everybody ain't got cocaine money. So
I don't mean to even ask because I know you haven't smoked crack, and I've never even. The only thing I've seen as far as crack is when that. I don't know if you remember when we had that party on Napoleon, and there was like a young lady of the night that was there with a gentleman that slapped her, and she dropped the crack pipe.
That's the bitch that stole my wallet.
Oh, okay. Well, you remember that. You remember crackety crack.
Yeah.
That's the closest I've ever been to crack that I know of. But you know, I again, like to all they're out there considering taking a crack hit, you're not all gonna turn out like Daryl Strawberry. Okay, it's not.
You're not gonna be a major league slugger.
Yeah.
Now that following year, 1997, When Ben Stein's Money debuts on Comedy Central, and it introduced us to Jimmy Kimmel's, and I always thought he looked like Jordan, or vice versa. Like this version of Jimmy Kimmel, and like fresh out of high school Jordan, before the locks and the long hair and the man bun and shit. They got the same like jaw structure.
Surfer boy Jordan, just like spiky hair Jordan. You know,
puka shells.
Exactly. And I love this show. I love me some When Ben Stein's Money. I love Ben Stein. He can put you to sleep with his voice. It's hypnotic.
Clear eyes.
Did you know he was a speechwriter for Richard Nixon, Steve?
I did. That motherfucker's brilliant. Like,
yeah,
that's why it was hard beating him.
Is he still with us?
Ben Stein is still with us, man.
Or how big are his ears now? Because I know they were getting alarming at a certain point. I can only imagine at this point. And they never stopped growing, Steve.
Probably encroaching Walt Disney territory. Hey, are those Jews? That's my Walt Disney impression.
Steve G does the Walt Disney hits.
Gee, Mickey? Are those Jewish people?
Hey, Goofy. Black people are inferior to white people. Okay.
Hey, coming to my park. Now, in 1998, Fear Factory releases their album, Obsolete. I could give a shit less, and neither could Matt. But I just remember seeing that fucking t-shirt worn by metalheads all across Perrysburg.
Do you think Louis listened to Fear Factory? Because that sounds like a Louis special right there, bro.
He fucks with Fear Factory, and so did my drummer, Nate. Like, I was the only guy in the band who didn't listen to Fear Factory. Like, look, stop. I got my limits.
I just remember seeing people that looked like maybe they went to like a Crow Comic-Con event, but then started crying. So it was just like running, you know, it was just very goth.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't think I've ever heard a full Fear Factory song. I can't even say the fucking name of the band, Steve. So let's just move on.
Yeah. Fear Factory. I remember that image. Bye. But you know who probably didn't listen to Fear Factory Obsolete in 1998 besides Stephen Mann? Probably English boxer, actor, and author, Lenny Mclean. He died of lung cancer, age 49. And Lenny Mclean was a bad motherfucker by all accounts. I believe his last film was Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. That was young Lenny Mclean. This is the guy you might be familiar with. Real like bulldogish face. Like, you remember Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels?
Yeah, I do, but I'm trying to like think who he does. He talk? I mean, everybody in fucking Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels talks like Bob Hoskins. Hey, mate. You're all right, cunt, mate. They all sound like fucking what's his face from The Boys. I don't remember this guy, Steve.
Oh, dude, he was like, I believe he was the heavy. He was one of the heavies. He was Barry the Baptist.
Oh, he was the guy that worked for the porn guy. He was like his heavy, because there was a dude that was like had a mustache and like had a bunch of dildos and shit in his office. And this guy was like his henchman, I think.
Man,
right.
He was. I have to watch that again because it's been a while. But
that movie was fucking dope, dude. I was trying to I should have watched it, but I've been meaning to watch Snatch again because I remember just loving the fuck out of that movie, dude. What's that guy's name that directed those?
Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that to me, I don't really fuck with him anymore. I don't like those Sherlock Holmes movies and whatnot, but that Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch were fucking fire ass 90s movies.
They were, man. And Leonard McLean, this is something I didn't know about. Like, he was a boxer. That's why he was so yoked up in the one picture, man. He was considered the hardest man in Britain.
Damn. I thought that was that Bronson guy.
Charles Bronson?
No, there's a guy named Bronson that's like a legendary English. He's in prison. Like that guy that played Venom, the English dude. He's like an actor now. He played him. And so he's like a bald dude with a mustache. And he looks like an old style, like one of these kind of boxers. But he's like the most violent criminal. He could get out of prison. He's a famous dude. People love this guy. He's famous, but he just keeps getting, maybe this is wrong now, but he would just fight people constantly and was just always like stuck in prison, like being some kind of legendary English tough guy of some kind.
For picking on people who don't want the smoke.
Basically, I mean, the movie's fucking crazy because it's like trippy as fuck, but this dude's like, he's somewhat of like he's very like, I'm just trying to think. He's very he's a star, dude. Like, he's got a personality, and like women love him. He's like this yoked fucking dude. Look up Bronson. Like, he's just like this weird looking fucking thuggish, bald fucking English tough dude that is like a prison legend, basically. It's wild. But like this dude looks like a fucking guy too. Look at this guy. That guy was a boxer. He looks like a pro wrestler. That's fucking crazy.
Dude, and Lenny Mclean, he was tied to the underworld as well. He was a bouncer at London nightclubs. He was an unlicensed boxer. He was a respected and feared figure. He often associated with infamous criminals such as the Cray twins, Ronnie Briggs, and Charles Bronson.
That's that Bronson guy, Steve. Yeah. That's that Bronson dude that I was talking about.
Yeah, it's the other Charles Bronson. Yeah.
That, I guess his first name is Charles. Like, I think he named himself after that guy, but yeah, that dude's like a legend. So that's crazy. These two cross paths, and apparently Bronson could have been in a fucking Guy Ritchie movie. Maybe he was. I don't know.
Man, yeah, he needs to be behind bars, man, from the sounds of it. But 1999, Deep Blue Sea premiered in theaters. Searching for a cure to Alzheimer's disease, a group of scientists on an isolated research facility become prey as a trio of intelligent sharks fight back. Directed by Rennie Harlan, starring Thomas Jane, Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Rappaport, and LL.
Yeah, we got Todd from Party Boys as the main character in this. He kills it. LL's in it as a chef. I remember this movie, Steve. I was all in on these dumb 90s horror movies like this. This shit is hilarious. The CG is laughable. It's kind of fucking stupid, but yeah, it's hilarious. Sam Jackson famously dies like in the middle of it and is very Sam Jackson about it. So
fucking shark ate me.
We going out of this motherfucker.
So like I missed the boat on this, no pun intended, but apparently these sharks are like Mensa sharks. Like, these are like ahead of the curve.
Yeah, they're hyper intelligent. So they've been bred. They're huge. They're hyper intelligent, and they're on like there's like a base out in the middle of the ocean that's like underwater tubes with some shit on the above the ocean floating, and people have to get like flown in. And Thomas Jane is like he's like a shark wrangler who can he swims with these things, and he's like an expert. So something happens. They have like a meeting in this thing. Sam Jackson owns the company that this is for. All these other people work here, and then they get stuck like trying to survive while these hyper intelligent sharks try to kill them. And it's fucking funny, Steve. I mean, you can just imagine Todd from Party Boys, LL Cool J at his lip licking finest, just killing it. He's got a parrot that he's always talking to. I remember that. And I think, Steve, if I'm not mistaken, it going against most horror movie trends, the black guy actually survives. LL makes it to the end of this movie, Steve. So they went against the grain on that regard.
A pioneer in different ways, man. And
there was another movie that came out right around this that had, it was on a cruise ship, but I remember it was like involving like a giant like octopus monster thing. But there was like two movies that similarly came out at the same time, and they were both great. And I wish I remembered that so I could actually finish that thought. But live and learn, Steve.
And it sounds like Deep Blue Sea walked so Sharknado could run.
Or The Meg. Or like The Meg is basically this movie just with a gigantic shark, like even bigger shark. They went even
smarter.
Bigger.
Like I've seen Jaws enough
that was
times.
called Deep Rising, is what it was called.
I've heard of that.
It was very. It was the same movie, just with an octopus. But you should have watched this, Steve. Maybe we should have watched this because this is like hyper 90s. This is about as 90s as it gets.
I think I need a full blunt to the face for this one.
Not a resin blunt either. You need a full front. You need a real deal blunt.
Any callbacks, cum shots, takeaways?
Well, I just want to call out Steve for not wanting to watch The Net because I think you're just Sandra Bullock if you're listening, and I know you are. Steve, you need to talk to Steve because I think maybe he has a real negative opinion of you, your career, and everything but your tatas. And I just feel like maybe we missed an opportunity here, Steve.
I think she is a gorgeous woman. It's not just her titties. I like even her little cute dimple in the chin, the booty chin. Yeah, she can get smashed. But your movies just
Demolition Man, though, Steve. Demolition
had nothing to fucking do with her.
But man, she looked hot in it. That's the look. If I got like a hall pass with Sandra Bullock for a night, dress up like the chick in Demolition Man. I thought that was hot. I don't know why.
I'll smoke a bag of that. I'll take her anyway. Just it's not watching your movies. And speaking of boring people, I think we glossed over this one, totally skipped it in the timeline, and probably justifiably so. Waterworld came out in 95, the same day The Net and Operation Dumbo dropped. Kevin Costner, man, you're on the brink, man. I think Elliot Ness, that is kind of saving you. And I'm searching Field of Dreams, Soft Field Giddy, and Elliot Ness. You got that. Bodyguard. It was you and Whitney Houston. But
you're right, dude. Untouchables is like the only thing. Field of Dreams is a good movie, but I'm not gonna watch that a bunch.
You've seen it once, you're done. It's like a Ric Flair match.
It's like a watch it with your grandparents movie. It's like a passable one of those where you're like, all right, like fine. At least it's not like Sarah Plain and Tall or some fucking shit.
Yeah, and I heard not so great things about it. I just remember it having like this huge budget, and it didn't even like recoup a portion of it.
It was fucking. I don't know. It wasn't like it gets like it's the worst movie of all time. It's stupid. Dennis Hopper's insane in this movie. He's like the villain, and it's basically just the world's all ocean now. And now people have gills, so fucking Kevin Costner's swimming around. Fucking, it's dumb. Now that I'm talking and saying it out loud, it's dumb, Steve.
And so Dennis Hopper, just the year prior, he was trying to blow up Keanu Reeves on a bus. Now he's trying to kill Kevin Costner with water. How does he play into Waterworld? I don't.
He's bald. He's like a warlord. He's bald. He's got an eye patch. And like, what's hilarious is like, this is a dystopian future, but like you see this, like they're on some kind of weird raft, but like the villains all have like sea-doos and shit with like fucking, it's all painted like to look like shit and fucking brown, and they have fins and shit. It's like, what happened here? So it's like saved all the sea-doo technology. Like that's still working.
So it's like a Mad Max meets Castaway type shit. I don't know.
It's not. There's a movie that's worse than this that Kevin Costner did called The Mailman. I don't know if you remember that fucking piece of garbage. That movie is fucking way worse than this. And I will say, like, this movie, the best thing it did is have like a live stunt show at Universal Studios, because that up until like maybe 5 years ago was still happening in LA. They still had a Waterworld show. It was like, why would you celebrate this movie everyone thinks is a piece of shit?
Well, it costs a lot to produce all these parts, so this shit's gonna be here.
We have this Waterworld area we invested all this money in, so fuck it. We got to use it.
Just like we did with the movie. And my also a takeaway, I just wanted to include this Nintendo game, this Robin Hood NES.
Dude, we need to, I'm gonna just try to get an NES, dude. I'm gonna get one of those old school like little systems. I miss those games. Keep playing these new fucking video games and I suck at them, Steve. I miss the old Mario type games, which I'm sure this was like.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember Robin Hood Men in Tights, the NES game, but
I don't either.
No, but
it probably sucks. I don't know. It might, I don't know, man.
Maybe not, dude. I mean, fuck it. I bet you could shoot an arrow or two in it. It's probably dope.
I'm gonna introduce another segment to the show, rising stars of our social media. These are some of the people who support us on our various Instagrams, on the Facebooks, on the Twitter and all that. They retweet, they repost, they comment, they like our stuff a lot. And these are some of the rising stars of our social media. Shout out to Noel Bilbrey, Trey Gores, Mr. Digital Comics, My Rap Life, who is John Black, my homeboy from Houston. He could rap his ass off. And James Machado. I don't know why I wanted to sing it like James Hetfield, but you go James Machado. And our guy, Hector Aponte III. I see that face popping up on Instagram and Facebook, and it's the same profile pic. And our buddy Hector, he even reached out to us in the DMs to alert us that there was a Legends of the Hidden Temple reboot, unbeknownst to me.
What?
And yeah, but apparently it sucks. He just wanted to pass the word, man. So all you guys rock, man. Hector Ponte.
Thanks for listening, you motherfuckers.
Man, you guys, I hope if I was to ever meet any of you, I would play chess, a game of chess with you. So there's that. Please like, share, and subscribe and comment. Tell us where your mom lives. And listen to Over the Culture, Crushgasm, B3F Podcast, and Don't Worry, Be Movie with Amanda and Wade. This is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s.